Chris Payne from Euclid, Ohio, and you are listening to Barbecue Central.
Let's go!
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
Good evening and welcome to the really big Barbecue Central show. This is the show where we talk about all things that are important to the world of barbecue and grilling. The show originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city, Bomb City, USA, Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I am your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evening's live fire fun and frivolity show. If this is the night where you think you are going to get it...
Let's go!
No, I haven't done that. I haven't done that. Okay, all right. I haven't done that in a long time. It's also very, very embarrassing. Notwithstanding that, if you think you're jumping in tonight, here's how you do it.
You can get in touch with the show by sending an email to Greg at BBQCentralShow.com. Follow us on all the social media channels at BBQ Central Show. And be sure to subscribe to the show podcast feed on your favorite podcast platform.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening in case you didn't get the newsletter coming up in about 12 minutes from now. It's the first Tuesday of a month, if you can believe it. The last month of quarter number 3 begins tonight, and we will be joined by the co-creator of How to Barbecue Right, our pal, our friend, our barbecue sensei, Malcom Reed, will be joining me. We're going to be talking about college football. We'll be talking about NFL football. We'll be talking about fantasy draft football, which I still, for the life of me, don't understand why anybody does that. But all of these things are related to live fire and barbecue and menu items. So we get a peek into Malcolm's life. But outside of that, you'll get some great tips and some suggestions on what you might want to have this coming weekend as the NFL season gets ready to kick off. Of course, this past weekend, we saw college football, which I guess technically was week 2. The week before that was week 0, and now this is week 1. It's very confusing. I don't know why they want to do that either. But there was a second week of college football, I guess. And this coming weekend will be the first week of NFL football. And who do we find pitted against each other, as luck would have it? The Panthers and the Cleveland Browns. It had so much more drama until Deshaun Watson was suspended for 11 games. It's backed off the drama factor. Baker Mayfield is really jazzed up for as much as he's saying that he's not. He really wants to win. He feels he was wronged. A lot of people in this here city behind me think he was wrong too. Thinks we should have kept him. Thinks we should not have gotten Deshaun Watson. Even holding all the sex mischievosity aside, they thought we should have stayed with Baker. Time will tell, and we're not even going to see our quarterback for 11 games, so who even cares about this season for the Browns? I don't. Poor Kareem Hunt, poor Nick Chubb, poor Myles Garrett, all languishing with a potential non-playoff football season again in 2022 going into 2023. But this isn't a sports talk show. This is a barbecue show. So after Malcolm, I will have a open segment. For what? If you're following me on social media, I've been talking about it for almost a week, and reports coming out of Memphis have been coming fast and furious for well over a week. And that would be what? The potential non-event of Memphis in May for next year. Oh, there's loads of stuff going on. I've reached out to the powers that be on both the parks side of things, which are responsible for Tom Lee Park, and then there's the Memphis in May International Festival side, which I've also reached out to. I have official statements from the parks side, nothing from Memphis in May at this point. However, CEO was quoted in a number of news articles, which I'll talk about, and also this past Thursday, the 2022 annual report and financial impact information was released. That had a whole bunch of great little topics in there that we'll cover. So if you're not up to speed, if you didn't know that Memphis in May is in serious jeopardy, well, guess what? Memphis in May is in serious jeopardy from taking place next year. They say it's going to be in Tom Lee Park, but is it? It's really not a cheap event to do the way it has been for the last however many years since the early to mid 80s. Has the potential to be the most expensive event ever on the face of the earth if things hold out the way they've been ballyhooed about over the last week. So I'll get you up to speed, 35 past the first hour. Then we'll close it up. We'll go to the second hour, and who do we find opposite Malcom Reed in the first hour? Well, in the same slot in the second hour, it's our friend Sam, the cooking guy. Sam's going to be talking about a knife giveaway. So if you're a fan of his show on YouTube, you have the opportunity to win a knife. We'll also talk about some recent recipes that included a fried poached egg or a poached, can't say poached fried egg. Doesn't work both ways. A fried poached egg, amongst other things, and closing the show. I'm excited for this one. I hope you're going to be just as excited as me. You know I've gotten into the animation business, right? I've taken some bits of shows from months and years past, animated them, but I found an animator. His name is Damian Rodriguez. You would find him on Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat and all this other things under the name Doodles and Things, making his world debut, probably anywhere. 17-year-old animation phenom Damian Rodriguez joining us to close the show tonight. I'm very excited. Now, look, am I typically nervous when I'm interviewing somebody that's 17? Well, considering I have a 17-year-old at my house and you all have seen her before with what I would call a basic lack of command of the English language, well, sure, of course. I'm very worried. However, little sound check last night. I know it's not the lights and the feel of the big show as it is on a Tuesday, but he was very conversational. We had a little bit of a rundown on what I was going to be asking him so we can game plan a little bit. Am I expecting the world's best interview out of a 17-year-old? Of course not. However, a couple of years ago, Angel Todd won the SCA cook-off at Hartville Hardware, and she came back on the show the subsequent Tuesday and knocked it out of the park, so much so that she made it into the Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame. That's how much she rocked it out. So there has been precedent set where a quote-unquote minor can come in and knock it out of the park as it relates to interview segments. So Damian Rodriguez will help me close it out here this evening. Doodles and Things, if you want to check out his work, or if it's your first time watching the show and you've never seen our animations here. He's the guy that does them all. Except for the Chad Ward one. Some other guy did that, but I don't even use him anymore because Damian is my guy. Don't forget you can follow me socially, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, at BBQ Central Show. Live video feeds also available on Facebook and Twitch /BBQ Central Show, and also over on YouTube where there's a rowdy chat /RD Rempy. Audibly available as well, and we say good evening to our audio partner, Clubhouse. So if you'd rather listen and not watch, which I certainly understand, get the Clubhouse app, search my name, and away you go. So let's start here this evening. Last week during the open of the show, I totally blew past the fact that I was a guest on my other favorite barbecue and baseball podcast, aptly titled Baseball and BBQ. Not barbecue, BBQ. Hosts Len and Jeff asked me about the current cost of barbecue meat, We also talked about restaurants and some other live fire topics as well. Len also put me in a first ever baseball and BBQ game show in a pseudo honor of the game shows that I will do here on this show off the cuff. That was fun. We also talked quite a bit about Cleveland Guardians baseball and where the team was at that point. Now, the show's been out for a couple weeks, so it's a bit dated. I did the appearance, and the Gardos decided to go on a bed-shitting streak. So it's still a little murky as it relates to where the Guardians are now and where they might be by the end of the month, especially as 2 of their starting pitchers just hit the IR. But time will tell, and nevertheless, if you want to hear me as a guest, and you also like to hear about baseball in conjunction with BBQ, this is the show for you. All right, Malcom Reed is in the green room. We'll get to him here in just 1 second. Before we do that, guess what, folks? Week 10 started with me and my pal David McDowell over at the Do Wellness and David Leans program, the website right now, because you got to want to get on it sooner than later. Get it going here as we round out Q3, getting into Q4. New year, new you. Get it done in advance. Why not? davidleans.com/BBQ to sign up. That's davidleans.com/BBQ. As I had mentioned, I'm in week 10. The last number of weeks I've been giving you my weekly updates. The weight dropped down, yes, but now we're on week number 2 of packing on muscle, trying to tip scales in the other direction. I'm really putting David through his paces to see if his programs work. So we knocked off about 13 pounds, 14 pounds, and now we are trying to put it back in a muscle setting, in a ripped muscle setting, potentially. That's up to me. So we've revamped the diet. We had our check-in. We looked over the pictures. We talked about eating. We talked about steps. We talked about water consumption, all the good stuff. Did I cheat? Did I not cheat? Now we've done a little revamp of the diet. More calories coming in, more protein shakes, more of the stuff that I like. And remember, my need to have extravagant food choices is not for me. I can eat the same thing every day. I do it. I don't even have to think about it. It's great. It's magic for me. And the best part is it's working. And if I have any questions, I text David or I'll call him. Now, he doesn't answer all the time right away, but he'll call me back later that evening. We talk about what my concerns are. I'm telling you, this is the way to go, and it works because I'm actually doing it. I'm a testament because I'm in week 10. We're packing it on. We'll see how it goes. davidleans.com/BBQ. That's davidleans.com/BBQ to sign up now. Is $200 a month too much to help you trim out and get a little bit more healthy? Come on. You can do it. I'm paying $200 a month. It's worth it. We will talk with Malcom Reed coming up out of the break. Stick around. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by cookinpellets.com, your number one source for quality wood pellets for all your pellet-driven cookers. Visit cookinpellets.com for more information or to purchase or to see what other products they have to add a little smoky goodness to whatever it is you're cooking on your cookers. Some of those things can be used in things that aren't pellet cookers as well. So multifunctional, multi-use, cookinpellets.com. My next guest can be found over on the YouTubes. How to Barbecue Right, co-creator, pitmaster of Killer Hogs competition team. Approaching 1.5 million YouTube subscribers at last check. We race to the hotline and welcome back monthly guest to the show, Malcom Reed. Hey, Malcom.
Hey, Greg. What's happening, man?
I am excited to be talking with you this evening here, Malcom. We are entering in the end of quarter number 3. September will close it out, and then we'll race to Q4. As I said in January, 2022 rapidly coming to a close, and people laughed at me, but here we are, 2022 indeed rapidly coming to a close. This past weekend, Labor Day, yesterday technically, Labor Day, big deal for you, and if so, what's on the menu at the Reed household?
Well, we kicked off dove season down here in the South, so we went to camp and had a big dove hunt. The weather was kind of screwy. It rained on us, but we cooked a bunch of good stuff. Man, of course, we cooked dove because we killed some birds, but we cooked duck gravy. We cooked bologna grilled cheese sandwiches on the Blackstone. We even deep fried some Viennese sausages. I bet you never had that.
No, I haven't, but I would imagine that outside crisps up really nice.
It was like a mini little Viennese pronto pup.
Now, Labor Day signifies the end of grilling season for a lot of folks, unfortunately. Well, they'll literally pack up their grills or smokers and stick them in the garage or the shed or put a tarp over them and not even think about them again until Labor Day of 2023. But with the entrance of fall coming soon, we're seeing the start of, as I'd mentioned in the open, a new college football season, which technically is in its second week. A new NFL season starts this coming weekend. And as you had just mentioned, the start of many different hunting seasons for those folks that are into that. So is it safe to say that this time of year, fall-ish, is Malcolm's favorite time of year?
I would say so. I think it's coming out of the summer because I put my smokers up in the summer for like, midway's July till right after school starts back. We usually squeeze in some vacation, so I don't do as much cooking. So it's like I just got them back out. And football season, hunting season, those are big to me. And every year I kick off football foods and try to do some stuff. I mean, people are, tailgating, cooking at home for football parties. Mentioned fantasy football in the intro earlier. That's all stuff that we do down here. So, and that all revolves around barbecue and grilling.
I'm remiss because I didn't mention this right at the beginning of the segment. Got to thank you here. Malcom Reed outfitting your host tonight.
Oh.
Got the Wingman t-shirt. What's that all about?
I love I thought it kind of went with the Top Gun thing.
Yes.
They come out with Top Gun 2 finally after many, many years. And I just thought it went with it. I love chicken wings and football season. And why can't Wingman have a shirt?
So let's go
that's
sport.
My take on it.
Yeah, I love it. Totally screams Top Gun. Obviously, it's got that movie logo to it, but who doesn't love a good chicken wing, especially this time of year? I mean, chicken wings are good any time of year, of course. We're huge fans of chicken wings. I know you and I are. But especially at this stage of the game, this is when chicken wings really shine. Let's turn sports talk show just for a second. My boss actually has a daughter that goes to Ole Miss. I think she's starting her technical second year, although she might be a little bit older as far as credits are concerned or a little further along. What's the team look like this year?
We've got a win first week, but we got a little quarterback issue there. So my son just told me at dinner a while ago that, they pulled the quarterback, Dad. Lane's starting a new quarterback. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, they're going to be pretty solid. Are they going to, be able to beat Alabama? I don't know. That's the one in the West that we're really worried about. But A&M look pretty good too. So,
are you a college football fan outside of Ole Miss? You like other teams?
Oh yeah. I mean, of course I am. I think college. I like college better than I like pros. Honestly,
really,
there's just more spirit. There's more spirit there. There's more energy in the stands. It's so much fun, and those kids. I think they play super hard. It's just, I don't know. It's just something about college football I've always been drawn to, and I love pros too. But I don't know. It's something about Saturdays being able to watch all those games from the time you get up to after you decide to go to bed that day. It's just that's the way we spend our Saturdays.
Are you in agreement with that institution of the NIL?
Something had to be done because these schools are making a ton of money, and the kids are getting an education, but I think there's a right way to do it, and that's a start. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, is it on the level of being called a pro athlete where you're getting paid for what you're doing? Yeah, somewhat. But, I'm not a big fan of all the rules that the NCAA has. So, of course, Ole Miss gets spanked all the time.
Malcom Reed joining us here on the show. HowToBBQRight.com, his website, and the Pitmaster at Killer Hogs competition team. NFL-wise, Malcolm, you've been a longtime fan of the Minnesota Vikings. So how do you see them rolling out this season?
I don't know. We got a good chance for the North. I'll say that. I'm not worried about the Bears. Not worried about Green Bay this year. Not really worried about the Lions. So I think we got a good chance there. But it's going to be a tough year.
Is that Kirk Cousins?
It is, and he's not going to lose you a game. I'll say that. Kirk's not going to lose you a game. Is he going to come back and win you one? That's to be seen. But we got some decent wide receivers. Cooks, I mean, he's getting on up there. That's where it hinges. If he has a healthy season and can get some touchdowns and rush for over 1,000 yards, we'll have a good year. But I'm really worried about the defense. We're young, so we got to see if these guys can play.
Has Cousins got 5 more seasons in him, do you think? Is he the quarterback of the foreseeable future?
I don't see it, Greg. I really don't. I don't see that. And they're giving these quarterbacks some outrageous contracts. And I don't know if it's just because there's no talent out there.
Who are you talking to?
The deal is. Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. I feel for you, man.
Yeah.
I am going to be watching that Carolina-Cleveland game because I kind of want to see what Baker's going to do. I mean, he got shafted. Fair to say he got shafted.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Cleveland hung up this season. I mean.
I was so excited until the suspension came down, and then it felt like a huge letdown. Holding aside whatever your feelings are about Deshaun Watson is, completely separate to where this potential first game of the season was going to be. You have your 2 starting quarterbacks, Carolina, and if the Browns have Watson, I think you have perhaps the most watched first game in NFL history, at least over the last 10 or 15 years. Everybody across the country is going to be tuning in because a lot of people here in Cleveland, like you said, feel that Baker Mayfield got completely shafted. They thought he showed a lot of heart and a lot of testicular fortitude going out there last season with the bad non-throwing shoulder and playing through all that pain. Had a terrible year, by the way, and the wins were down, and I can make an argument on, why they decided to move on. Now, who they moved on to, again, up for debate. I would say, from a talent perspective, Malcolm, would you say that Deshaun Watson is supremely more talented than Baker Mayfield, or no?
I don't know. I mean, he was good in Houston, but I don't know if it was that much of an upgrade. I mean, I feel like if you're going to hang your hat on somebody, young or something like that, maybe go with somebody that can actually play this year. That's hanging up a lot of games to put a season off like that. The guy's been away from this will be almost 2 full seasons, right?
Yep.
He's not played football, so we'll see.
Have you had the fantasy football draft yet?
I have. That's really, I play fantasy football for the draft. I've got some buddies that I've been doing it with for a long time, almost 20 years, and it's the draft day is what I like. Managing a team all season long and making moves and all that stuff. I'm usually too busy to keep up with it. And, I get a lot of other things going on the weekends with barbecue and hunting season and stuff like that where I can't just, stay in some stats and make these changes as soon as the games happen and stuff. But I got a decent team. I kind of went different this year. I took a lot of rookies as backups to try to gamble on some people because we're doing this keeper league where you get 2 teams. You get 2 players that you keep every year. And my guys are kind of transitioning out. I've had them for about 3 or 4 seasons. So it's time for me to get some new fresh blood in there. So I'm going to try a different strategy.
You don't pay Michael $20 to keep your team together and manage?
So this year I let him be the commissioner of another league. So he's going to learn. He's in a learning mode. And so I'm trying to bring him and teach him how to play fantasy football, what I know, So hopefully next year he'll be ready to take over for me.
What kind of a menu are you putting out for the guys there?
Well, our league is called Ribs and Whiskey. So we have multiple bottles of whiskey, and we usually always have ribs. But you got to have chicken wings, man. We brought out the nacho machine that we have here at the shop, and I cooked some pork butt so we could make barbecue nachos. And it's typical football fare, stuff that you would think that would go with the football setting. So
did I miss
a lot of cold beer?
Did I miss the notice on something called barbecue spaghetti?
Oh, that was we do these inter-office competitions here, like friendly competitions for the people that work with us. And so if you get last place, you get to pick the next, contest we're going to do. So I guess Tyler was sick of getting beat. He was last place the time before in a margarita contest, and he picked pasta. He knew he had a ringer. Well, as soon as he picked pasta, I knew I was doing barbecue spaghetti, and I don't even think anybody was close to me.
Is that a Southern thing?
It's a Memphis thing. It's
barbecue spaghetti.
I think, the barbecue spaghetti. The way it started was some of these. There's barbecue restaurants, of course, in Memphis since it's been a town, and there was one particular guy that had a barbecue joint that wanted a different side besides your coleslaw, your potato salad, your stuff like that. So he come up with the idea of doing barbecue spaghetti on his menu, and it took off. People went crazy about it. You don't see it. I don't know if I've seen it anywhere outside of Memphis, really, or a Memphis type joint, but it's a side dish on a lot of barbecue places here in Memphis area.
Is it pulled pork or beef or what?
The way I do it, I usually put some ground beef or ground sausage in the meat sauce. But to the meat sauce, to the tomatoes, I add barbecue sauce as well, because it's tomato based. So it has a little sweet vinegary aspect. And then you top it. Well, I use 2 pounds of pulled pork. 1 pound gets chopped and mixed in the meat sauce with the ground meat too, and all the other stuff that goes with the spaghetti sauce. And then when you plate it all up, you usually do pasta, sauce over it, or you can mix that and you plate it, and then you shred like the best parts of the pork butt over the top and drizzle it with a little more barbecue sauce. So it's a meat loaded spaghetti.
Yeah, wow.
And it's not a side. I do it as
I'm sorry.
I do it as a main dish. I do it as a main dish, Greg. I don't do it as a side dish. It's a hearty stick to you.
We had spaghetti Sunday night, and I just happened to fall over barbecue spaghetti somewhere. It was either on your YouTube page or on one of the social media things, and I was like, damn. I had a couple bags of frozen vacuum-packed pulled pork that I could have brought back to life in some hot water for half an hour or so, and tried my hand at barbecue spaghetti on some 2 unwitting guests that came over to the house that were expecting normal spaghetti. So I'm going to have to try that out next time. I'm going to do a much deeper dive into this topic next segment with my own findings and some journo work that I've done over the past week. However, Memphis in May is a contest that you obviously hold in very high regard, one that you and the team did quite well in this past year and subsequent years as well. What's the word on the street that you're hearing, and what have other teams told you about the event for next year if some of these reports hold true?
Well, really, we don't know a whole lot. I mean, I heard you talking about some of the research, and it was in a news cycle here for a good 24 hours, and then it just kind of went silent. But what we're hearing is that, they've redone Tomley Park. That was the whole reason for moving Memphis in May last year. And with the new remodel, they can't host as many teams. I think it's going down by like 65 to 80 teams, which takes it down to like 150, 160 max. They have this huge damage deposit, think of it as like a bond, I guess they're wanting the Memphis in May organization to purchase to ensure they can fix back the park. And it was like $1.4 million. And they talked about splitting that money up between the teams that's going to be there. So it put our damage deposit at $7,800, that we're going to have to come up with, in addition to entry fees, electricity, everything that it takes to do this contest, which is astronomical anyway. And so that's what's got the teams really, really worried is that who can afford that? I can't afford that much of a damage deposit that I know that I'm not going to get back. It depends. I mean, there's a chance of it. I mean, who could put up $8,000 just to set in an account, because we have to get those applications in by a deadline. It's going to sit there till May. I mean, somebody's making interest off that money. What's going on here? And how are you putting it on the team's backs? I don't know, man. It's really, I think it's putting a bad taste, and not in what Memphis in May is doing. It's what that new Parks Commission, whatever they're called, is doing in the city of Memphis. That's who's making it look bad. But it's hurting everybody, not just barbecue teams. It's hurting the city of Memphis with all the revenue that's made from people coming to Memphis in May. I mean, to all the tourists that love to come see the city. And it's kind of a lose-lose for everybody, because, I mean, not having it at Tomley Park, would be a travesty, because that's what Memphis in May, the Barbecue Fest is. It's on the banks of the river. It's at the foot of Bill Street. It's the scenery with the sun setting over the river to the west. So I don't know, man. I'm really worried about it.
At $8,000, is there anybody that you could think of that would bite that bullet just to say, or let me ask you a better question. On any given normal year for your team, how much is your expense outlay?
I mean, so we spend a decent amount of money. I would say our budget's between $7,500 to $10,000 for one contest, which is astronomical. There's no other contest that we spend that much money on. But that's total budget for, I'm talking entries, meat, beer, everything that we do that whole week, hotels, everything that we do for guests coming in. So that's a pretty big budget. Now for an average team, I would say $4,000 or $5,000 is a pretty big budget. And so you could, do the math on that. Who's got an extra $8,000 laying there to do it? Now, who would do it? These corporate teams. I think those are the ones that would shell out the money and not think twice about it. I've heard teams that are spending, $20,000, $30,000 just in hotel rooms to bring people in. Another $8,000 to those people is probably just a write-off item.
But those aren't any teams. Those aren't any teams that we would know that have a real shot at winning. It's not Big Bob Gibson. It's not Myron. It's not you. It's not the Shed. The guys that just won at this a Blues Hog. I mean, that's different. Those guys would probably not come for that.
Oh, I can imagine. That's the ones that when I think of the ones that have a shot to win, they're not gonna pay that much money for, there's just no way. There's no way.
So we'll see.
The only way I can see it, if they turn it into like a rib fest, like, you've seen these big rib fest cook-offs where there's 10 teams and they make $200,000 or $300,000 selling meat to the public. An $8,000 deposit to those guys is probably feasible. But to somebody doing what we're doing, just trying to win a barbecue contest, it's not going to happen that way.
But turning Memphis in May into a rib burner fest would be a travesty in its own right, I would imagine.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think it would be near the same. Would it draw people? I would think these other cities, and maybe that's what they're doing with the one they have in Chicago and the Windy City Smokeout, the one they have out in Kansas City. They're having these big events where they charge the public, and it's more of about a festival than it is a contest. And I don't know, man. I'm total speculation. I haven't talked to anybody. As a team, we're all kind of upset. It's come down to this.
Malcolm, last question before I let you go, and appreciate the time. In regards to the YouTube channel, how is it going currently? And as far as new content, are you finding it hard to continue to come up with new stuff to talk about?
Well, we've kind of not hard. We've switched directions because we're seeing trends in the short video content. We're growing our shorts channel on YouTube astronomically. I mean, we ran that channel up to over 100,000 subscribers super fast, and that's where people are starting to get their content is with TikTok and shorts. So we're doubling down on that shorter form content. I still make YouTube videos. I don't release them as often. I'm not trying to do a weekly release with YouTube just because the eyeballs aren't there as much anymore. People are watching most of it on mobile devices. So we're playing around with vertical shot footage that we can use across multiple platforms. It's just, it changes. And you, as someone that's been doing this for a while, you have to adapt and change with it or you'll lose your views. So what we're seeing declines in long form YouTube video, we're seeing upticks in all the short form stuff. So that's kind of where we're playing right now.
Is the drawback in the shorter stuff? I remember you do a YouTube video, it could go 35, 40 minutes. I mean, my YouTube videos suck because it's just a quick archive of the show. It's 2 hours. It's everything that YouTube hates, and that's why I get a couple hundred views, and that's it. But people that are fans of the show that want to see this segment that we're doing, or they want to put a visual on one of the animations that Damien did for me, they'll go back and find it, and I get a view. But I'm out of the thing that wins YouTube. Your previous videos, Sam the Cooking Guy video, somewhere that lives in that 14 to 20 minutes, seemed to be where everybody was winning. You still had some time to go through process. But now if you're at a minute or 2 minutes, is the downside that you're not able to really give that insider information or those real good tips and tricks that you would be able to in what's a longer 14-minute video that used to be an hour.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I don't think you get as much. If you're a fan of cooking and learning from it and the tips and tricks and seeing the process, you're not seeing that in short form. It's basically a catchy intro, a little bit of cooking and prep, and then showing what it's like at the end, and it's on to the next one. So are you learning something from that? No, but I think people get entertained from it, and it gives them ideas. So what we do is we look at those that really hit, and we start thinking about, okay, how can we do a longer form video of what we just did that people really wanted to see, so we can push or have that content out there too? Because you're going to have a certain amount of your viewers that want to see the long form. They want the whole thing because they're watching it for you and to learn something. But that's what those do. So we've got a core people that still watch those long form videos and love them and communicate with us. But then you've got the people that it's really the younger generation, Greg, they've lost that attention span where they just want to get through it and get to the next one. They want to be swiping.
Malcom Reed joining us here on the show as he does each and every month. You can find him at howtobbqright.com. And, of course, the pitmaster of Killer Hogs competition team. Make sure you subscribe to him on YouTube if you haven't already. Catch the long form, catch the shorts, catch what's all making Malcom the star when it comes to barbecue on social media. Malcom, always appreciate the time, and we will see you in October.
Yes, sir. Glad to see you, Greg. We'll see you next month.
All right, there he is, Malcom Reed, right there. It is so incredible to see where YouTube has gone in 5 years. My guest in the second hour, Sam the Cooking Guy, used to do a live video, and it would go an hour and a half. Sometimes it would go longer than that. And they stopped doing it because they realized that only kooks like me and 8 other people would actually tune in, watch it live. And it was as good as any cooking show. It was better than any cooking show. It was like a radio show and a cooking show all in one. First half of the show, it was just Sam sitting at a table talking about news of the day or a cooking trend or something like this. And then they would transition, go into the cooking portion of the show. It was great. I loved it. But I was like the only one of 10 people that actually loved it like that. And then all of a sudden, they retool. They go to 3 times a week. They're in that 15-minute, 20-minute or less time frame, and now they're closing in on 4 million YouTube subscribers. So obviously, as is the case usually, I'm wrong and the majority is right. But to see it go down to a minute or less is crazy. I can't believe that things have changed that much. But again, to live in hypocrisy, which I always love to do, even when I put in my Instagram or now the Reels on Instagram, those get incredible traction. Thousands and thousands of views and watches and stuff that I wouldn't get on something longer form like this. So always appreciate Malcom and having him give us his insight on cooking and social and videos and all that fun stuff. Some new folks piling into the YouTube chat room. Happy to see everybody here. Before we get to the updates of Memphis in May, because I have them, and I'll get you right up to speed so you know what I know, I'll talk to you quickly about Bub and Mothers. So many people, as I had mentioned talking to Malcom, look at Labor Day as the end of all things summer. Yet, some of the nicest barbecue weather is still to come. Indian summer brings a lot of warm weekends to gather, grill and watch football, and Bub and Mothers can bring the flavor you and your guests deserve. Not only is it 100% natural, it has less salt than many of the bottles that you'll find on most shelves. Less salt means you can add more flavor by adding more rub and not worrying about oversalting your meats or side dishes. More spice, less salt also means the rub goes a lot further. They last longer. They're just a better value. Want some new ideas? Head on over to the website, BUB, the letter N, MUTHAS, bubandmothers.com, and click on the What's Cooking link. There you will find some recipes for the rubs, including make your own barbecue sauce, wings that bite back, their soon-to-be famous redneck aioli, and their barbecue margarita, to name just a few. Right now, until they run out, Everyone who orders a 4-pack of their rubs, just $24.95. That's right, 4-pack for just $24.95. You can get one of their special T-shirts absolutely free, which is rule number 3 of the show. If it's free, it's me. Just enter the code, the letter B, the numeral 4, the letter G, the letter O. B4GO in the promo box at checkout and tell them which shirt and what size of the note box. And remember, every purchase creates an added donation to a veteran charity. As a veteran-owned company, they are proud of their service, continued support of all who wear the uniform. Bub and Mother's Down East Dinner Dust, made with real maple syrup crystals and fresh roasted ground espresso, and their Honey and Heat, adding honey crystals and chipotle. Both create flavors that only your taste buds can appreciate. The website, once again, is bubandmothers.com. That's B-U-B, the letter N, M-U-T-H-A-S, bubandmothers.com. But don't forget about the buy the 4-pack and get a free T-shirt. Use code B, the numeral 4, G-O. The letter B, the numeral 4, G-O. B4, go. In the promo box at checkout. And again, tell them what shirt you want and what size. Memphis in May 2023. What's it going to look like? Where are we sitting? We'll catch up all next. Stick around. Be right back.
Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
And we thank Malcom Reed for joining us last segment. This portion of the show being brought to you by Fireboard 2. Monitor up to 6 different temperatures simultaneously. Connect to Wi-Fi for cloud-based monitoring. Or connect via Bluetooth. If you have Alexa or the Google Assistant in your home, you're in luck. Fireboard 2 is fully integrated with both. Find out more by visiting fireboard.com or call them and ask questions, 816-945-2232. That's Fireboard 2, Fireboard 2 Drive, and Fireboard Pro. Quint Nelson weighing in on the YouTube controversy that Malcom and I were just talking about. I'd rather watch a longer video than those shorts. I rarely watch shorts. Forget it.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Quint, in a related story, I rarely wear shorts. Don't make me stand up. Let's talk about Memphis in May. Give you a little background, give you a little current update. Now, this week has been going on, this has been going on for a week or so. Or at least that's when it hit my radar. I've seen a few online news articles going back to late June of this year, but let's set the stage here, give you the info, and then what I've been told from both sides, and then we can make our own informed decisions, create our own opinions, and then argue them back and forth until we can't stand each other, and then we take our balls and go home.
Get that big stuff out of here.
First, players in the game. On one side, you have the Memphis in May International Festival, and on the other side, you have what is known as the Memphis River Parks Partnership, or as I will call it from here on out, MRPP, Memphis River Parks Partnership. Now, by contact, here's what I did. Hit the internet, saw a bunch of articles coming out of Memphis, all regurgitating much the same stuff. And I said, I'm going to get in touch with Memphis in May. I'm going to get in touch with the Memphis River Parks Partnership and try and get official statements from each of them. I sent off roughly the same email to each individual organization. I did get emails back from both. However, the Memphis in May contact, for me, a guy by the name of Randy Blevins, he's the vice president of marketing and programming for the Memphis in May International Festival. That's what it's called. Not just the Memphis in May barbecue event or contest, but the Memphis in May International Festival. And the MRPP contact that I managed to make is a fella by the name of George Abbott, and he is the Director of External Affairs. I don't know if that's just a fancy term for media guy or the guy that answers any media questions that come in. But those are the two people that got back in touch with me after I'd sent out that initial email that said, hey, why not give us a little info on what's exactly going on, or I'm reading a lot of these news articles. What's true, what's not? Where's your stance? What's the official word? So there are a number of items that are going on here. I'm going to do my best to try and get to the boilerplate issues. And I've reached out, again, to both parties mentioned above. I'll let you know what they've told me here in a second. So, number one, Tom Lee Park, which, as Malcolm said last segment, is where the Memphis in May International Festival has been taking place for decades. I think the first one was early to mid-'80s. And up until last year, it had always been in Tom Lee Park. This past year, it moved to Tiger Alley or wherever it was. But Tom Lee Park was not the place it was held because it's undergoing renovation. So, due to this extensive renovation, Memphis in May goes to that alternate location. Through a news report, the CEO of Memphis in May, a guy by the name of Jim Holt, declares at a meeting just this past Thursday that there will be a Memphis in May in Tom Lee Park 2023. He then goes on to talk about the incredible increase in deposits for repairs after the event is done, going from a $53,000 deposit for repair to, as Malcolm had mentioned, $1.4 million. Couple that with the brewing disagreement from both sides on how big the park is actually going to be for that event in 2023. Memphis in May says the park is going to be roughly 40% smaller than it was previous to the renovation being made. That means instead of 230 teams able to compete, the new team max number is 150 teams. That's sizably less. I'm no mathematician, but rough math tells me that's 80 teams less that will now share that burden. According to MRPP, the Memphis River Parks Partnership, the size of the park is not going to change. Is not.
Andrew, you are not the
The size of the park isn't going to change, and it will still total 30 acres in size. Now, does that mean the new 30 acres is still the same usable 30 acres as it was before? I don't know. It doesn't say in any report. It just says the size of the park is going to be the same. There's also a report that MRPP has since reduced their $1.4 million deposit fee requirement to $375,000. Still a market increase over the $53,000 deposit that had been used to at Memphis in May, to roughly $322,000 more, but down from 1.4. Both sides have said they want this event to go back to Tom Lee Park. However, there does seem to be some sticking points that aren't clearly defined at this point, which might hinder Memphis in May from continuing to happen as early as next year. Moving to a new location was done this year, as I had mentioned a few minutes ago. It was not a financially viable option. It was not a financially successful move. This year, the event was operated at a $2.23 million loss in Tiger Alley. So simply saying that the remedy for Memphis in May is just to move this event to an alternate location, that's not necessarily the right answer either. Seems like the easiest answer, but after trying it this year, because the park was under renovation and they had to go somewhere else, They quickly realized being that far away from the normal area of holding this event makes you operate as a loser, $2.23 million loser, in case you just missed that. Now, I did reach out to both sides for their official statements. The first reply I got back was from George Abbott, who's from the MRPP. I wrote him asking about the non-refundable $7,800 deposit that has been smacked all across these news stories that were coming out of Memphis. Was his reply back to me, and I quote, "Hi, Greg. There is a distinction to make between the refundable damage deposit that is held in an escrow for the events and the non-refundable fee that Memphis in May charges participants and teams. As the agency tasked with maximizing the riverfront on behalf of the city and the public, we must protect public property, so any private event taking place in the park must pay a damage deposit. But it's fully refundable, with only damages caused being charged. With $61 million invested into Tom Lee Park, there is a lot more that could be damaged during the event. The amount of the deposit is contingent on things like festival layout, fencing, planting areas, and places like playgrounds, which would help to minimize the prospect of damage, serving to both minimize the Memphis in May deposit and protect the public investment. Following the festivals, a third party jointly selected by the partnership and Memphis in May assesses and quotes the cost of repair with the remainder of the deposit returned to the festival organizers. But I understand that Memphis in May has communicated to its vendors and teams that their damage fee is non-refundable. No wonder it's a shock.
Get that freak stuff out of here.
Glad to be able to communicate some of these details with you. Let me know if any of this is unclear. I hope you're having a great holiday weekend. Thanks, George. So that was George Abbott from the MRPP, the Memphis, what is it called? The Memphis River Parks Partnership. Here's what I take away from that whole letter that he wrote back to me. And I don't know, I'm not saying that George isn't telling the truth here. I'm just saying the thing that sticks out to me the most was this paragraph. Following the festivals, the third party jointly selected by the partnership and Memphis in May assesses and quotes the cost of repair with the remainder of the deposit returned to the festival organizers. But I understand that Memphis in May has communicated to its vendors and teams that their damage fee would be non-refundable. It's no wonder it's a shock. By the way, that's what they're talking about when they're talking about the $7,800 non-refundable deposit.
Get that freak stuff out of here.
So on this side of the fence, you have a guy saying, hey, we're holding this money, but less the damage repair, we refund back the deposit to the Memphis in May International Festival. However, Memphis has decided that whatever security deposit or damage deposit that they're asking teams and vendors is non-refundable from Memphis in May back to those folks. And according to George, it's no wonder that's a shock. Now, I did get an email from Randy Blevins of the Memphis in May International Festival. He did state that he was out of town for the holiday weekend and would not be back until this coming Thursday, 2 days from now. So I plan to have a call with him at some point Thursday, maybe Friday. We'll talk about what George wrote to me. I will obviously ask him about if the partnership is giving you back a refundable balance of whatever is left over after repairs are made. Why is not whatever the teams are paying, hence that $7,800, for example, that $7,800, is there not some stipulation that says, hey, we're going to refund you back a percentage? We don't know what it's going to be, but we got to wait to get the fixed bill of the park. And once we have that, then we'll be able to put that against all these teams times 78. There's going to be a balance due. We're going to split that up equally, and we're going to ship it back out to the teams. So while you have deposited $7,800, you're going to get back X amount. So you have a net deposit amount that you're going to have to incur, but nobody is going to know what that is until after we get the bill from the partnership. I'll ask him about that. Why is it non-refundable on one side, but the partnership is refunding Memphis and May back once they're done with repairs? And again, in years past, this has been a $53,000 deposit, which went to 1.4, and then, according to the partnership CEO, has been renegotiated down, and I'll get to that here in a second. So, no official report from Memphis and May. However, as I had talked about with Malcom, there was a release of the Memphis and May issues 2022 annual report and economic impact study at annual public meeting, August 26th. Can I? I can't. I just want to show you what I'm seeing here. Give me 1 second to put this on the screen, and then you can read it. Oh, hold on. I'm not ready yet. Where's the screen? Oh, this is so aggravating. I know it's just a black screen sitting somewhere offline. No. All right. Well, it does appear that you might have to take my word for this because my desktop monitor isn't showing for whatever reason. I'll read you the bullet points. How about that? Oh, wait, here it is. Desktop capture, display 2. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. The CEO says, hey, we're going to have this Tom Lee Park next year. Because of ongoing renovations at Tom Lee Park, the festival presented 2 of the city's most popular large-scale events at the Fairgrounds in Liberty Park, a temporary location for 1 year. Attendance from both the Beale Street Music Festival and World Championship Barbecue Contest was down dramatically because of displacement from traditional riverfront home. For the first time in over 20 years, combined attendance for the 2 events fell below 115,000. By comparison, both events attracted 175,330 attendees in 2019 and almost 179,000 attendees in 2018. The result of the attendance decline, the organization reported a record-setting financial loss of $2.23 million, which I had mentioned earlier. That surpassed the most recent high water mark, which was when the event was completely canceled due to COVID. That sustained a $1.8 million loss. And then you have the economic impact. So this year, the economic impact to Memphis, Shelby County, the economy, $72.9 million. Seems like a great number, right? Nope. 51% decrease from the record high of $149 million economic impact recorded in 2019. Not to mention all the people that they're employing, tax revenues, all that stuff. Now, this year, of course, did do well for the local establishments and hotels, things like this. But it was a loser here. And the Memphis River Parks Partnership has stipulated that Memphis and May must post a damage deposit of $1.4 million. This is in addition to an increased rental fee, despite a significant reduction in park space, capacity, and revenue potential for the annual flagship festival. Memphis and May historically pays for all restoration fees associated with wear in the park. On average, the annual restoration expense has been $53,000 over the past decade. The excessive fee would have a crippling impact on the organization. So we will talk to, hopefully, I'll talk to Randy Blevins to get his side of the thing from Memphis and May hopefully that gets you up to speed. If you had just saw a Facebook post a little while ago and said, hey, I had no idea what was going on in Memphis in May, but this is what's going on right now. You have one side now saying that the security deposit or the damage deposit is refundable, but Memphis in May is not refunding it, or they are turning their side of it into a non-refundable deposit, which is causing a lot of angst amongst the teams, and it has nothing to do with the Memphis Parks portion of it. So we'll talk to, hopefully, Randy Blevins and get his side of the story. And now you're caught up. You're welcome. Before we wrap the first hour, I will talk to you about Green Mountain Grill, some of the best pellet cookers out there on the market today. I'm actually getting ready to have a call with Jason Baker at some point this week, hopefully getting ready to pass on some great news, hopefully, but we'll see about that. You have two lines to choose from right now, a choice line and a prime line. Choice line for the folks, a little bit more frugal. You don't need all the Wi-Fi, app connectivity, internal meat probes, things like this. You can save some money. You get a really great cooker. The Davy Crockett is the size that you can get. Really good for a family of 5 or 6. If you don't entertain to a huge degree, it's going to accommodate everything you need. Now, if you want a little bit more of a robust build on the chassis, you want some Wi-Fi, you want app connectivity and the ability to control that cooker from your Barker Lounger, the Prime line is going to be one you want to take a look at. Both of them sold through dealers only. GreenMountainGrills.com. Find a dealer near you. And then get educated at the dealer. Pick and choose the best one that fits your needs. And you will have success right when you get home because you're educated by the folks that are selling it. They're professionals. They know what they're doing. They're helping you out. If you want some accessories or they don't have them at the dealer location, you can go to GreenMountainGrills.com and load up on accessories to complete the Green Mountain Grill cooking experience. It's all up to you. Find a dealer near you, get educated, go from there. GreenMountainGrills.com. That's GreenMountainGrills.com. We're back to wrap the first hour right after this. Stick around. Be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by Pit Barrel Cooker, the most unbelievable outdoor cooking device on the planet, currently available in 3 sizes with a host of accessories. Whether you're a beginner or you're a professional, the cooker you want to add to the arsenal, no question about it. Visit pitbarrelcooker.com and tell them the Barbecue Central Show sent you. Are we going to do a quick wrap-up here so we can get to the top of the second hour stuff, which I am now 2.5 minutes behind on. We thank Malcom Reed for joining us in the first interview segment here at 9:14, and we thank me for catching everybody up on the Memphis in May trials and tribulations as we look into 2023. Deposits, non-refundable deposits, totally refundable deposits. This side says this, that side says that. Hopefully we'll get updates to pass along next Tuesday. But we are pointing to the second hour. Refresh your libations. We'll be back right after this. Stick around.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me!
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle.
Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude!
Succulent fish! What?
He ate 54 wieners.
Oh, listen, Libertius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
And just like that, we are into the second hour of the Barbecue Central Show. Doing it live right here.
We'll do it live.
9 to 11 p.m. Eastern every Tuesday evening. bringing you a new live show, which is also being recorded at the very same time. Hour number 1 will go up a little bit later here this evening or earlier tomorrow morning. Hour number 2 will be released Thursday morning at 1 a.m. And I'll tell you about Friday here in just 1 second. Still to come on the show this evening, Sam the Cooking Guy will join me in about 10 minutes from now. And then closing the show, coming from the bullpen, Damian Rodriguez of Doodles and Things, the animator of our bits that are coming up. Smoking Joe's Barbecue Pit weighing in. Tonight's show quickly coming to an end. Truer words, Joe. Truer words. By the way, the city being brought to you by the show. What am I even trying to say? By the way, the show originating from
Palm City, USA, Cleveland.
Hey, there's Sean Reed. He made it in. Sean, if you missed the first hour, which I know you did, make sure that you download the podcast and get caught up with Malcom Reed and my informational dissertation on where Memphis and May sits right now. Don't forget, you can follow me socially at BBQ Central Show on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Snapchat /BBQ Central Show on Facebook and Twitch for live video feeds. Also on YouTube, which is /RDRempy. And we are audibly on Clubhouse as well. So we say good evening to everybody over in Clubhouse. And guess what? Sam the Cooking Guy is coming up soon. So Guy Chisholm and Mike Elliott and Matt O and Robert Salazar, get ready because we do have a refreshed rendition of what? What does Sam like best? And you have a chance to win something for free. Can I get a hell yeah?
Give me a hell yeah!
Coming up on the best moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less, this Friday, episode 245, taking you back to September 6th of 2016. And who do we find a visit from? Well, none other than the guy that was just here last week talking about turkey, Ray Lampe. In this particular segment back in September of 2016, Ray and I were talking about brisket, but specifically, if you can just get a bad brisket and you're screwed right from the start, no cooking involved yet, no prepping involved yet, you just got a crap brisket. Is that something that can happen and then you cook it and then it's still crap because it was crap to begin with? Now, back in 2016, neighbor Desmond cooked a brisket, and while the flavor was on point, the taste was good, the seasoning was really good, actually great, it was tough as hell. And Desmond and I kept eating this brisket going, we want to love it so much more, but our jaws hurt. This is borderline baseball mitt material. We're going to make a note of this. I'm going to talk to Ray on Tuesday. We're going to get his take. Maybe, just maybe, Desmond, you were screwed from the beginning. You got a bad brisket, and it was just bad brisket through the cook no matter what. Well, Ray gave his take on if it could have been the meat that was bad, given how right everything else was in the finished product. We also tease you with how to not get rubbery chicken skin on barbecue pits. That's tough, especially if you cook at the lower temperatures. I'm sure you can probably figure out what Ray said. What? Higher heat. Oh, right. Just my 2 cents. Ray has always been a great guest on the show, as evidenced by his appearance last week, talking about his recent turkey tour through Illinois, which I would like to do. So, Turkey Federation, if you're listening and you're putting together a new turkey jaunt through Illinois or some surrounding state, I would love to go. We all know I would never go. I'm just saying I would like to go. Don't forget, if you would like to hear a guest or a segment that might be lost in the archives of this show, email John, Jon, at thebbqcentralshow.com. That's Jon at thebbqcentralshow.com. And let him know what you would like to hear in a best of format. Upcoming shows for September, including visits from Meathead from AmazingRibs.com and Robert Moss from RobertFMoss.com, also the author of the Q Sheet, which, by the way, has come less and less frequently. I don't even know the last time I got a Q Sheet, so I'll bust his balls about that next week. Also, joining us, my barbecue insider expert, the guy that broke the Pitmaster Ramon scandal, Tim McKeska from McKeska Brand Sausage will join me as he's feverishly putting together all the pricing stats and what it looks like year over year, and $35 a pound brisket in places like Texas and downtown Cleveland. Also, we'll be having a visit from our quarterly guest, Daniel Vaughn from Texas Monthly, first-time guest and the pitmaster at Truth Barbecue in Texas. Leonard Botello will join me. Stephen Reichlin, barbecue icon, will be in this coming month. Derek Riches, the embedded correspondence, and much more. So those are just a way to wet your whistle for upcoming shows here for the rest of the month. Email from Fred in California. Greg, longtime fan and love how you cover the industry. I am echoing the sentiments of an email you got a handful of weeks ago that talked about how good your audio has been the past few years after you made the mandate that all of your guests have microphones. I happen to be a huge fan of Dan Patrick's radio show as well, and I notice that many of his guests Zoom in or use some other type of video conference software for their appearances, and almost all of them sound like crap. I'm surprised national shows like his wouldn't have a similar requirement as you do for your guests. Anyway, continue to set the standard for sound quality in the industry. I, for one, appreciate your effort. Regards, Fred. Well, Fred, thank you for writing in, and thank you for saying that you enjoy my setting of the new standard for sound quality in the industry. Your words, not mine. And I've certainly set the standard in the live fire industry for sound quality. That's unquestioned. But I'm here to agree with you, Fred in California, because like you, I have become an avid listener of the Dan Patrick radio show, or the Dan Patrick Show. I like sports talk. I'm off of Howard Stern pretty much exclusively at this point. Plus, he took the summer off again, which I hate. But nonetheless, I agree with you, Fred. I don't understand how a nationally syndicated radio show that is also using the technologies we have all come to embrace, Zoom, the thing that I use, vMix, StreamYard, whatever the hell else there is available out there, and there's plenty of. You embrace this technology. You have an easy way to connect. And yet, the biggest name guests in sports show up and sound like crap. It's ridiculous. The microphone that I tell my guests to get, it's a $69 microphone. It both connects via USB, or if you have a mixer, has an XLR connection at the bottom of the mic as well. You choose. Very easy to put together. In fact, the easiest way to do it is through a USB cord. Connect it to your computer, make a few setting adjustments, and away you go. You hear it on my show. Now, you can get a much cooler mic, like Sam has a really nice, cool mic. Stephen Reichlin has a really cool mic when he's down in Miami and he uses it. But you don't have to spend that kind of money on it to sound great. You buy the $69 Samson Q2U microphone, and you sound like $1 million. And the fact that nationally syndicated radio shows use this technology, the video technology, and they show it on the television too, and then those guys sound like they're trapped in basement bathrooms, fearing for their life, is unfathomable to me. I do not have a nationally syndicated show at all, and my guests routinely sound better than people that will do a hit on a Dan Patrick sports show and sound like crap, and then they show up on their own TV shows and sound like $1 million. What's the difference? They're using a real microphone on their show. The hosts or the producers of those shows don't care enough to say, hey, guy that makes millions of dollars a year on your contract, buy a $60 microphone and sound just as good as us. Sound like you're in the man cave with Dan Patrick or whatever show. It's mind-boggling to me that my show sounds at least 800 times better than nationally syndicated sports shows. And I'm not being dramatic. Just listen to it. It's a joke. I'm embarrassed for those people. Sam the Cooking Guy is ready to go and in the green room. I'll talk to you quickly about Primo Grills. What do we love about ceramic cookers? We love that they're fuel efficient. We love that you can achieve low and slow temperatures for traditional barbecue meats. We love that you can get rip-roaring hot for high-temperature grilling of steaks and other thin cuts. But what's missing in the everyday ceramic line of what's missing in the everyday lineup of ceramic cookers? The real ability to do true two-zone cooking. Two-zone cooking is very important to both professional and backyard cooks alike. It's the best way to manage a fire and cook with confidence. However, getting a two-zone fire in a round ceramic cooker, not very realistic. Why? Because it's round. And a Primo grill and their game-changing oval design. The shape gives you the ability to execute a two-zone setup that you desire. It also gives you all the other ceramic grill benefits as well. When you break it down, there's more than 60 different ways to cook on this thing. Only limited by your culinary imagination. Why not? They also have the accessories you want. They got a pizza grill accessory. They have the Primo Grill rotisserie accessory, just to name two. The bottom line is this. Best ceramics in the biz? Yes. Patented technology? Of course. True two-zone cooking capabilities? I said that. Multiple sizes of ovals? Yes. If you have to have a round one, they got a round one too. But don't do it. Resist. Go oval. If you have any questions, check out their website, primogrill.com. Also, just like Green Mountain Grill, only sold through dealers. So find a dealer on their website, primogrill.com. Follow them on Instagram and the Facebook. Once again, the primogrill.com is the website. We're back with Sam the Cooking Guy right after this. Stick around. Be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
Welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by Smithfield. Head on over to smithfield.com right now for recipes as well as tips and tricks from well-known live fire cooks like Darren Worth, Jess Pryles, and Childs Cridlin. Mouth-watering flavor, no artificial ingredients. Smithfield Fresh Pork is quite simply some of the finest pork money can buy. It's the trusted choice of top cooks for use at competitions and at home. And again, the website smithfield.com. My next guest, a YouTube cooking sensation with over 3.25 million subscribers eagerly watching his cooking videos 3 days per week. Actually, at last check, 3.39 million subscribers, if we're being completely balls-on accurate. He's won many Emmy Awards and a Barbecue Central Show Guest Hall of Famer. Let's race to the hotline. And welcome back, friend of the show, Sam the Cooking Guy. Hey, Sam. I got nothing. Are you on mute? Yep. I knew it. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Just close out all the way, come back in. I'm sure it'll fix it. Yep. You know, I feel a little hypocritical that I just went on and nothing against Dan Patrick. This isn't me backpedaling, by the way. But I feel like I just did that whole thing. Just close out the browser all the way, and then just cut. Okay, he left. I feel like maybe I went in too hard on Dan Patrick because guess what? At least his guests sound like crap. My guests have really expensive microphones, and they have no way of actually getting in and making sound. So in the end, I guess we're even, is what I'm saying. What can I
hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. All right. How about
Hey.
that?
What I was saying, it kills me when people go, you ask them, and they go, well, if I'm being honest, and then it makes me want to go, well, when does that mean you're not being honest a part of the time?
What? Oh,
maybe do you have to tell me when you're being honest?
Did I say if I'm being honest?
What did you say?
Something
I don't know.
Like
that. So something like that.
I said I felt all of a sudden I felt the need to apologize because I was going in on Dan Patrick.
No, it was before that. It was before that. No, you did rally about people's audio and shit like that, and you have an absolute right to do that. We've had this conversation how many times? You have to be the captain of your own ship.
That's
and
right.
Tell people you worried once, twice, 3 times. You were going to get somebody big on the show, but you didn't know if you should say to them, I'm not going to have you on unless you sound good.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you should do.
That's right. And I did it, and I feel much better about it. And the show has been great for it.
Of course it's been great. Yes. I won't listen to a show that has shit audio. I won't. I'll turn it off.
Have I caused that for you?
Shit audio?
No, like you paying
you
attention.
Fucked me for all, yes, you have fucked me for all the other shows.
Yeah, same for Doug.
If it's not bad.
All of a sudden, Doug has become an audio snob, and he sends me snippets of like, oh, I can't even listen to this. And I was like, Doug, give me a break. You sounded like crap 6 weeks ago, and you get a microphone, and now you're a good guy. All right, so do you want to start out with playing a What Does Sam Like Best?
It's your shit, buddy. I'm only a passenger.
Only a passenger. Well, good. Because guess what we're going to be using tonight?
Yeah, go ahead.
Clubhouse. Are you ready? It's going to work.
Yeah,
Hold on.
for all the 2.5 people that don't know how to use it that are there.
That's right.
And nobody from Hawaii is allowed to be on tonight.
Don't worry. Nobody from Hawaii is in the room.
So
let me just wait to see if somebody raises their hand here. And
what is the infatuation?
Here we go.
What are they paying you? What is the infatuation?
No, Clubhouse doesn't pay me, but they would
joke. But
it just sounds the sound quality is good
for the 8 people that might be there.
Yeah, I mean 8 might be pushing it a little bit. I mean, I don't know. All right. Well, let's see how this works out. Joe, you there?
Huh.
What a dickhead.
What a surprise. Somebody on Clubhouse can't
No,
figure out
you know what?
how to get the fucking technology to work.
This is my fault because I decided to try Joe Martinez, which never works. But we knew this. I just tried to do it anyway. All right. Let's see. Scott, are you there?
I'll play. Ask me.
How can this be? Hold on. I got to make
I have food stuff to talk about.
Let me make an adjustment here. All right. Scott, you there?
Oh,
Scott.
Hey, there we go.
Found
the mute
there we
button.
go.
All right.
Seems to be contagious tonight.
All right.
Where's Scott? If he's in Hawaii, I'm hanging up. I'm leaving.
Scott, where are you at?
In Cambridge, Ohio.
Oh, Cambridge, Ohio. You going to be at Hardville Hardware next week, Scott?
You know it, Greg.
All right. I can't wait to see you again. This is a fan of the show, fan of Sam the Cooking Guy, of course. And we're going to play What Does Sam Like Best? Now, you might ask yourself, Scott, what is that? Well, it's a game show that's sweeping the nation, number one. Number two, I'm going to ask you questions. You have to get 3 of 5 correct. If you get 3 of 5 correct, Sam will give you a free prize of his choosing. That's pretty much it. You ready to play?
Sure, let's go.
Question number 1. See how easy it is here.
By the way, I got a good prize for the
great Scott. All right, Scott. Of the 2, which does Sam like best? Poached eggs.
By the way, we have not talked about these. I do not know what
Right.
Greg is going to say.
Right. I make these up on the fly.
Explain that.
All right. Of the two, which does Sam like best? Poached eggs or sunny side eggs?
So, I don't really have a reference, I guess, on that one, but I would hope that sunny side would be what he likes.
All right. So we'll lock Scott in on sunny side. Sam, is it poached or sunny side?
Congratulations, Scott, if you were planning to lose this question, because it's poached eggs.
Oh.
Always. I've said before, thank you for being an enormous fan, I've said before, my last meal would include some form of poached egg on a Benedict.
I think you said that when you did the fried poached egg video, which I was going to ask you about here this evening.
Yeah, with the crispy poached egg. By the way, just let me say, if you've not done this, you make a poached egg. Immediately put it in cold ice water, let it cool, dry it off. Then it goes into. Listen, just go watch the video. It's so
right.
Crispy poached eggs. You deep fried an egg with panko on the outside of it is unbelievable. It's life changing.
Scott, it's life changing. Scott, it's life changing. All right. Look, you got one wrong. Don't be so down on yourself, Scott, because you have plenty of other questions to go. Of the two, which does Sam like best? Chicken breast or turkey breast?
Well, Sam, I need to do some more research before I play a game.
I need to do some more research.
No vibes, huh? Well, let's go with the popularity vote, but I don't know. Anybody that likes a poached egg, I guess, better than a sunny side egg. Maybe he's got me a little bit on the thing that maybe I should go against.
Scott, do we have an answer for crying out loud?
Let's go with turkey.
All right. Scott in on turkey. Of the two, Sam, do you like chicken breast or turkey breast?
The reality is I like neither.
Oh.
But I got to choose one.
Yes.
And even though he effed up the first one, I'm going to give him turkey breast just so we've got a game.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure exactly that's how the rules work, but it is your game, so
it's your game. It's my answer. So
that's right. All right, Scott. One right, one wrong. We have 3 left to go here, so you can still win a very cool prize of potentially large retail cost. Of the 2 Barbecue Central Show recurring guests, which one does Sam like best? Malcom Reed or the entirety of the embedded correspondence?
Wow. Let's go.
You
let's go with
outside?
Malcolm.
Man, that is a dick question.
Yes. Sophie's
Yeah,
choice.
who do you like better?
It is
Who would do
Sophie's
that to you?
choice.
What kind of guy would do that to you?
That's me.
Boy, I need a second to think this through.
What do you think, Scott? You think Sam likes Malcolm better or the entirety of the embedded correspondence, which is a large personality group?
Yeah. So do I go with the masses or do I go with Malcolm by himself?
It's the best question you've ever asked.
Wow.
Best question you've ever asked.
Let's go with the correspondent.
Oh, all right.
Let's go that way.
Not
Let's
where I
say
thought you were going to go with that. Sam, Scott says you're going to say the entirety of the embedded correspondence, but do you like Malcolm better?
Look, I'm going to go with the correspondence.
Huh. All right.
And look, let me just say this. Partially because I know that little bitchy Dougie would cry if I didn't choose them.
I'm gonna.
I love Rusty. I love all the work that
John,
they do.
of course, yeah.
And I feel like Malcolm can handle me not choosing him better than the others can. Though I'll be honest, I watch Malcolm more than I watch the others. So
all right. Well, I mean, no matter what,
it's, look, I'm playing sides here.
Yeah.
Really,
No matter how our roads come together, Scott, what have we learned? You've got 2 right and you've got 1 wrong. We continue on. I mean, between the 2 of you guys, it's like roadblocks from all sides getting this game moving.
Stop it
all right.
now.
Question
I
number
told
4.
you that was the best question you've ever asked.
Question number 4, Scott.
Yes.
Between the 2 pastas, which one does Sam like best? Regular spaghetti or cavatelli?
Ooh.
What the fuck? What the? What? You went from the best question you've ever asked to the worst question you've ever asked.
What? I don't know. I want to know that question.
How about bucatini?
Scott, I'm the host.
Oh, okay. I'd pick bucatini.
Too bad, because I would have said bucatini.
Oh, and somehow that wouldn't have been from the best question to the worst question. The bucatini makes the difference.
Huh?
Bucatini would have made the difference.
Bucatini, no, it's about your dumb pasta question.
All right.
Pasta's pasta, buddy.
No, it's not. And you know, you of all people know that pasta is not pasta. How dare you?
I like bucatini.
All right. Scott, regular spaghetti or cavatelles?
Let's go with the regular.
Oh, regular.
Wait, remind me what Scott's numbers are right now.
All right, Scott has 2 right, 1 wrong. So if he gets this one wrong, it goes to question number 5, which of course is, who does Sam think is hotter, X or Y?
Yeah, okay. What did Scott say? What did Scott
But
say?
we need to know if you like spaghetti or cavatelli. Scott says you like spaghetti.
Not trying to F up this game for you, Scott.
Oh, no.
Spaghetti is my least favorite.
Least? That's my favorite. Scott, you like spaghetti or cavatelli?
You're just too like white in Cleveland. That should be a TV show. White in Cleveland. You would be the host of that.
Oh, all right. Well,
hey,
what do you like, Scott? What do you like?
Greg Grimpy, and welcome to White in Cleveland.
Spaghetti or cavatelli, Scott? What do you like?
Spaghetti.
How about bucatini?
Okay. We move on. Last one.
Wait, and by the way, Mr. White in Cleveland, tell me you're not using like some shitty Prego off the
No,
shelf.
I make my own sauce. Are you kidding me? How dare you? All right, Scott, this is it for all the marbles.
All righty.
Who does Sam think is hotter? I think I go right back onto the best question ever, by the way. If you're ready.
Love this. Go ahead.
Scott, who does Sam think is hotter? Hoda Kotb or Kathy Lee Gifford?
Jesus God, man. Okay, this is now the best question ever.
Scott, do you get the significance of this question?
Shit. I'm so torn on this. I will explain.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, not before you answer.
No.
Scott,
No.
for God's sake, man.
Scott, do you not understand the significance of the question, Scott? Yes or no? You don't?
No, I don't.
Oh, dear. Give me an answer, Scott. Hoda Kotb or Kathy Lee Gifford?
But it's caught
Go with Hoda.
Hoda. All right, we'll lock Scott in on Hoda Kotb.
Does he even know who they are?
Well, let's see. Scott, do you know who Hoda Kotb and Kathy Lee Gifford are?
I know who Kathy Lee Gifford is. She was on the talk show there for a long time.
On the Today Show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Well, that was her partner in crime, Hoda Kotb. Was
Cotby.
Yeah,
No,
they were
it's Kotb.
they're on the same one.
It is not.
Yes, right.
Kotby.
It's copy, yes.
It is not.
It's Hoda Kotb, like Xerox. Hoda Kotb.
No, it is not.
Yes. Sam, Scott says you think Hoda Kotb, Hoda Kotb.
Okay, listen. One is definitely younger than the other. One could be considered younger and hotter than the other.
There's a lot of what
I'm
if.
going to tell you this.
Yes.
It's about a vibe.
Oh.
It's about personalities.
Oh.
And if I got to choose between the two.
Yes.
I'm going with Kathy Lee.
Oh. Well, Scott,
Listen.
things just went downhill for you in a rather seismic Hindenburg way. I thought as Sam was building to that, I don't see how anybody could have vibe or good feelings or anything with Kathy Lee Gifford.
Listen,
I thought he was marking out to Hoda Cot B. But,
Listen.
right. Go ahead.
My second time on the Today Show was with Hoda Cot B, as they say and as she says, and Kathy Lee Gifford.
Yeah.
That was the moment that I had. That was my Today Show moment. And I asked them to stop talking. It went semi-viral or viral, and it's been played all over the place.
Yes.
After that, when I went back to the show, Kathy Lee Gifford was nothing but warm and welcoming. Hoda Kotb was cold as a fish in the Arctic.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Kathy Lee Gifford understood what entertainment was and how it went. And Hoda Kotb, who hadn't been on the Today Show very long at that time, felt personally insulted by my saying you guys need to stop talking. Yeah,
I
she
thought
did.
she
It was
took
a
it
weird
better.
thing.
Like in the moment, I thought she took it better.
Listen, whatever they did on air.
Yeah.
Kathy Lee Gifford, after the fact, when I would go back to the show, she was the most warm, welcoming person ever. They didn't put me back with her and Hoda. They put me with other people because there was some magnetic or non-magnetic chemistry. But Kathy Lee was like, "Oh, my Sam, how nice to see you. I'm not going to be with you today, but I love having you here." She was so nice. Kathy Lee Gifford is a professional that understands entertainment, television, that kind of stuff. Hoda Kotb at that time was thrown off by my comments and felt a personal affront.
All right. Yeah. Well, that's some good background on there. We still have to do the segment on the show where we talk about that.
Here's the deal. If you're going to find somebody hotter, it's going to be somebody that you vibe with.
Yeah.
And that's going to be, look, neither of them I would pick out of a crowd and go, I want you. Not to be sexist, but if you're going to have somebody to hang out with, it's going to be her. I think she'd be more fun.
Well, bad news, Scott. You didn't get it. Good news for you, Scott. On the 17th, you will see me live and in person hosting the Hartville Hardware 2022 Grill Fest. And we can talk about what great fun you had. You made it all the way to the fifth question, and then you shit the bed and didn't win the Sam the Cooking Guy free. What?
He was going to get, do you want to know what Scott was? Scott was going to get an unannounced Sam the Cooking Guy set of four steak knives.
Oh, my God.
They're not even out yet. He was going to get those.
Oh, my. Well, that's too bad. I mean, that's got to total some kind of monetary value, no doubt about it.
Not won?
No, this is the first time somebody has not won.
Oh, Scott.
Should we
you can take that
should we
home
do
with you
something
tonight.
crazy? Sam, should we do something crazy?
Go ahead.
Right now, waiting to come on to close the show. The 17-year-old phenom of Doodles and Things.
Yes.
Damian Rodriguez.
Stop it.
Is on.
Damian, you've got... Stop it.
Believe it or not, I'm going to show right now. Damian is right here. Now, look, you would notice that's a cartoon. He's 17.
I want to see real Damian.
No, he's 17, Sam. So we're playing a little bit of, minor stuff. I don't want to, he didn't want to be, video. So I said, you got to send me a cartoon at least. So he sends me a cartoon. Do you want me to pull him up? We'll do one question. Damian potentially wins Sam the Cooking Guy thing.
Yes.
You want to do that? All right.
Of course I do.
Any further ado,
Damian?
we race to the hotline and welcome in Damian Rodriguez. Hey, Damian.
Hey, Greg. Hey, Sam. What's up?
What's up, Damian? How are you, man?
I'm doing very good. I'm very excited to be on the show and meeting Sam the Cooking Guy, my idol, my favorite YouTuber.
About that?
Inspiration. Doing the peace sign. Yeah, very
All right.
excited.
Now,
Oh,
I'm
and
here
and
for you,
Greg,
bro.
we know Damian is a huge fan. We know Damien is a huge fan of Sam the Cooking Guy because we saw Damien's video depicting one of Sam's cooking videos. And this kid has an eye for minutia.
Wait, by the way, Damien. Yeah. Wait, by the way, Damien, I've lost weight. I do not have nearly as much shit hanging down from my neck as I did, but I so appreciated every nuance of your art.
Yeah, thank you. The flappy neck skin, chicken skin, kind of looked like chicken skin.
Yeah. Okay, you don't have to keep saying it out loud. For God's sake.
Would you say, Damien, that's a little artistic creativity there?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. All right.
That neck skin, pretty artistic.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
Damien, we have one question that you're going to answer. What does Sam like best? And if you get it right, you get a prize. And then I'll let Sam go and we'll come back and do the segment. Are you ready?
Oh, yeah. I always wanted to be on this.
Okay.
Let's do this.
By the way, I am not going to bullshit this just so he wins.
No bullshit.
Because I like him. No bullshit.
That's right. All right, Damien.
The no bullshit zone.
What does Sam like best? I'm thinking off the fly or on the fly here. All right.
Well, I got one.
I'm the host. What does Sam? Which steak does Sam like best? 45-day dry-aged steak or 90-day dry-aged steak? Which one does Sam like best?
I don't think it's a 90-day dry-aged steak. In that dry-aged video he did, I think he tried a dry-aged steak that was dry-aged for a while. He didn't like it. So I'd say 35-day dry-aged.
35-day dry-aged. All right, so we'll lock Damien in on 35. Sam, do you like 35 or do you like 90-day?
Shit, Damien. I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to send you something special because you are absolutely right.
All right. Oh, my goodness.
Just ask Damien what he wants and I'll send it.
All right. Well,
I love Damien.
Damien, you have won. So what we'll do between you and me is I'll get your shipping info and all that stuff through email, and then I'll send that along to Sam, and then Sam will send you a prize.
I will put together a special package for you.
Special package.
Kit?
Yeah.
Kit.
A kit.
In Cleveland, they say kit.
Yeah.
I will send you a kit.
Yeah.
I don't know what it will
be. A prize kit,
a
prize package.
Damien.
That's right. It's filled with cash and prizes from Sam the Cookie. Sam?
Damien, thank you for your work. You're fantastic.
Yeah. And I appreciate you
really
coming on the show once a month. And I'm going to let you go, but we will see you in October.
Okay. Thanks for having me, guys.
Wait. What's the first?
Damien, don't go away.
Wait, hold on. Give me the date because I'm going away. I might not be. What's the first Tuesday?
I'm rapidly running out of time. We'll get together and work out the logistics.
Okay,
all right.
Whatever.
Okay. I appreciate
Goodbye.
it.
See
all
ya.
right. There he is,
Sorry
Sam the
I'm
Cooking
even
Guy,
here.
right there. Are you kidding? Don't be so mean. Damien, hold on one second. I got to do a quick commercial, and then we'll come back and we'll talk all about your animation and how great you are and all that fun stuff. And hopefully everybody will start using you. So stand by. And we'll get back to Damien Rodriguez here in just 1 second as we close out the show, who, by the way, just won a great prize pack from Sam the Cooking Guy that my pal Scott in Cambridge, Ohio, wasn't able to come up with on question 5, heartache and pain. All right, let me talk to you quickly about Big Papa Smokers, the one-stop online shop for all things barbecue. Their curated selection of only the best outdoor cooking and grilling supplies, getting you on the path to better barbecue results in no time. Everything at BigPapaSmokers.com has been Pitmaster approved by Sterling Big Papa Ball himself. From the award-winning rubs and sauces to the American-made grills and smokers, Big Papa Smokers has everything you need to be a better outdoor cook. Not only that, they also own Granny's Barbecue Sauce. If you're looking for a new go-to sauce that will please everybody, Granny's traditional yet powerful flavor reminds us of why we fell in love with barbecue in the first place. If you're looking for cookers, we got some for you. How about a versatile smoker that's easy to use? Check out that Mac 2-star General Pellet Cooker. Big Papa Smokers, the exclusive Mac dealer, even offering special packages. Not sure what you need? Call them 877-828-0727 or shop their website, bigpopsmokers.com. That's BIGPOPPA smokers.com. We are back with Damian Rodriguez right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Let's get back to a guy who has more experience giving you his opinion than he actually has cooking. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. We thank Sam, the cooking guy, for joining us last segment. Of course, you can find him over at thecookingguy.com or go on to YouTube and check him out over there. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed to him. But we welcome back our pal, Damian Rodriguez. All right, Damian, so first things first, because we didn't do it right off the bat as we launched you into a game show that you weren't anticipating. I did a interview with somebody named Angel Todd a few years ago when she came on the show. She was also 17 at the time. I did make sure that Damian's parents are okay with him appearing on this show tonight because technically he's under 18. I am also a parent, so I want to make sure that the adults are all in on this, all on the same page. Thank goodness that they are, and we're able to do this interview tonight, so I thank them. Were you surprised, Damian, to hear from a guy who has a barbecue and grilling show solely dedicated to covering the live fire industry like ESPN covers sports?
Yes, I was very, very surprised. So my dad, he shared the Sam the Cooking Guy post on Reddit, and Sam the Cooking Guy, he commented on the video that night, and he said that he was going to send me an email. And I was on my emails looking for an email. I was like, come on, Sam, where's that email? And then I refreshed it, and it wasn't Sam. It was Greg Rempe. And I was like, who is that? Who in the world is Greg Rempe from the Barbecue Central show? The number 2 now, most downloaded barbecue podcast. Darn you, Malcom Reed.
That's right.
Right, yeah. Yeah, sorry about that, Greg.
That's all right. I mean, Malcolm is a very big star. It was only a matter of time before he surpassed me. So before we talk about animation and the project specifically related to this show, can you give us a little background on you, where you live, what grade you're in, and where you've lived outside of Texas, if you did live anywhere besides Texas?
Well, I was born and raised in Texas my whole life. I was born in Amarillo, Texas. I don't know if any of you guys heard of it.
Of course.
It's famous for the Big Texan, a restaurant that I put in my Big Mo case on animation. I don't know if you guys saw that reference. And when I was 12, I moved down to Lubbock, Texas, which is like 100 miles or so down. And yeah, I've lived in Texas my whole life. I like it here. The weather kind of sucks, though. It's always dry. It's never rains, always windy. Very, very bad weather for riding bikes, which is something I usually do. Not very bike friendly, but I like it.
I assume this time of year it can be oppressively hot.
Oh yeah, like even in October it's still hot. It's crazy.
So what's the food scene like at home, Damon? Do you guys a bunch of cooks and people that like to share recipes, or not so much?
Well, my dad, he's very into cooking. He always has been. That's where I've got my love for cooking from. And yes, I do have a love for cooking. I don't know if my YouTube viewers could tell. Like on my YouTube channel, all I do is parody cooking YouTubers mostly. So yeah, like mostly every day, I'm cooking. Like my mom says that I'm cooking up a storm, and that's what she says. My dad, he's always cooking. He's always grilling steaks. He's always smoking. He's always trying new things. Both of us watch cooking YouTubers, very into cooking. My mom doesn't like cooking. She can't stand cooking. My sister doesn't like cooking. My brother likes to bake. I guess you could say we're a cooking family. Yeah.
Now, you're in Texas. You said Lubbock. Texas widely known for having what they feel is the best barbecue in the country, perhaps the world. Are you into barbecue at all? Do you go around and frequent some barbecue joints, or do you make it at home?
Like every weekend, every holiday.
Wow.
We're usually grilling something. Usually something new. There's a lot we haven't tried out yet. A lot of barbecue. I really love barbecue. It's like one of my favorite things. Whenever my dad is grilling, I'm usually like right next to his side watching him. He's usually telling me what he's doing, some new things he found out. I'm always right there. I'm really interested in barbecue and grilling. So, like which is the reason why I watch this podcast. I love this podcast ever since you introduced me to you introduced me to yourself. I started watching this podcast. Pretty great podcast you have.
Do you have other barbecue YouTubers specifically that you and your dad watch? Who are you into?
Oh yeah, long list. Matt Pittman from Meat Church, Malcom Reed from How to BBQ Right, Chud's Barbecue, very underrated channel.
Yeah, Chud's is great.
Oh, well, let's see. Does Guga count? I don't know. He's always doing some weird stuff.
I mean, he does so many
One time-
steaks in so many different ways. I don't know how you can not count Guga. I mean, this guy is so off the charts. He had Gordon Ramsay duet his TikTok videos. So I think you're achieving some major level of success if Gordon Ramsay is taking time out of his day to make fun of you.
Yeah, that's right.
So I originally found out about you after watching that Saying the Cooking Guy. He sent me the link that you did featuring his show, and it was great. I was hooked, and I needed to find somebody or some way to get in contact with you to talk about the potential of contract jobs. Thank goodness we were able to get in contact. You said you were open to talking about taking on some contract work. When did animation first grab your interest, and when do you decide to try and figure out how to do it on your own?
Well, I wasn't always into animation. It didn't come into my mind until much later on. But ever since I was like 2 years old, that's when I first picked up the pencil, and I drew Plankton from SpongeBob.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with that. I still have the drawing in the attic, and I've been drawing whatever I saw on TV and stuff during my childhood. Angry Birds, Sonic, Mario, all those little boy stuff that I was into. And during like first grade, I started drawing little stories in my notebook. And then I liked that so much, I was like, hey, I could be like a children's author and write books, because I like to draw and I like to tell stories and I like to be funny. And then in third grade, that's when things really changed. I found a flipbook app on the school iPad, and I was like, what is this? And I realized that you can make animations with it. It's like, whoa, this is cool. I like to tell stories with drawings, but with animation, I could do it like in a video form. And this like blew my mind. Like this was a turning point. So I got onto my iPad at home, and I downloaded an app, and I started animating all summer. And eventually my dad told me that, hey, you should start a YouTube channel. And I did. And I've been animating ever since then.
So would you say in that third grade time when it really clicked for you, that you realized that you had a talent for this and that you're spending any free time you have on becoming a better animator?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so I've been animating ever since I discovered animation. And on my 10th birthday, my dad, he said, hey, I really like your animations that you're making on your YouTube channel with your free to use iPad software. So on my 10th birthday, he got me an animation software for the laptop. And I started animating on that. And then 6th grade happened, and then I had a lot of homework and stuff, and I stopped animating. And then in 7th grade, I got into homeschooling. And that is when I had so much time to work on my animations. And that is when my skills really improved. I am so thankful that my parents let me get into homeschooling, because with that, you only have to do school for like 4 hours. not 8 hours like the public school does it. I'm very grateful for that. I had a lot of time to practice my animation.
So 17, are you a junior or are you a senior this year?
So I graduated high school last December, like around New Year's.
Wow, look at you. Smarty pants.
Yeah, like a year and a half early.
Yeah, wow.
Since I'm homeschooled, I get to finish school whenever I want. I get to go at my own pace. So I ended up finishing a year and a half early.
So are you in college now?
I'm in that weird phase between graduation and college.
Yeah.
I've been taking tests. I took a test, doing all the things that I need to do to get into college. Just all that kind of stuff. I've been working on my animation a lot more during this whole year where I had no school. That's what I've been doing. Yeah, I'm not in college. I'm not in school. Getting ready for college.
So let's break down this whole process. We'll use my projects as an example, just so we can get a look behind the curtain of how this happens. For instance, the first one you do for me is the pineapple video. It's magic. I send you the audio clip, but I didn't really have any other direction to give you other than here's the audio. Now, go out and make some magic on this. So what's the process of you putting that video together with very little direction for me other than the real audio that my meathead and I had generated a couple years ago?
Yeah, so when I first started the pineapple animation, that was very different than what I usually do. I usually record the audio and script everything myself, but whenever you gave me the audio and you told me to just do whatever with it, I was like, what do I do? What is going on? So I just listened to the audio like 100 times. I was like closing my eyes and stuff, trying to imagine what this would look like. And after a few replays, I was like, okay, I think I know what this is gonna look like. So I got started on the rough draft. Just drawing, just letting my mind do whatever it wants, doing my hand do whatever it wants. And I edit it. I like if there's a little area of the animation that feels like it's sort of dragging out a little bit, like it's not interesting, I'll step back and try to think of what it could, something entertaining that I can put in there, like some sort of visual. I try to not put any limits on the visuals. Like I'll even have you jump into the frame and say, I don't know what you said. You're like, I don't know, pineapples or something. You just jumped in the screen. Anything. I'll even have you like with a book flipping through the pages, reading out what you're saying. There's no limits. So once I send you the rough draft, you usually say that you like it. You're like, you knocked it out of the park, Damon. Good job. And then I get started on the animation, and I have to model the characters. So what I usually do is I draw the characters.
You hand draw?
And I have to model. Like I have a tablet.
Yeah.
And I hand draw on that tablet, and it shows up on the computer. Sort of hand drawn, but it's digitally.
Yeah.
So I draw the characters and I have to model them sort of like in 3D animation. I give them bones and different head pieces and mouth pieces. It's crazy. Very, very technical. And once I model them, I can start like outlining, like putting the characters over the rough draft, and then I have to draw the backgrounds. That takes the most time. I put a lot of detail into those backgrounds. I have to put in references and stuff. And then I just animate.
If I can just interrupt just for 1 second. You know, the thing on all these videos, it's the constant line, for me at least. Like the main stuff in the foreground, like it's me and Meathead, or me and the guy from Traeger, or me and Mo. I think a lot of people see that at first, and it's strikingly great. You know, there's some characterness to it, but I look like me, Mo looks like him, Jeremy looks like him. You get it. But what I am continually amazed by is when you look deeper into the animation, you hit pause on the video and you look at the paper that's at my desk, or the background that's on my set, or the way my microphone is, or what's on the Mo case on when you had B&B charcoal. I mean, this isn't like you didn't just guess on that. You went and did, hold on. You went and did homework. You studied who all of these guys were and then fit all this stuff into these minute videos, which continues to amaze the level of detail and thought that goes into these. And I'm not saying that a 17-year-old isn't capable of doing this, because obviously you are, but by and large, it's not something that I would expect coming from a 17-year-old, maybe a 34-year-old or a 35-year-old. Is it just the way your mind works, is wanting to get all of this detail crammed in there to make it that much more lively?
Well, you said that I've done my research, and I never even said that I've done research. So that means that you could really tell that I put a lot of research into that. So yeah, I forgot to say during my process that, yeah, I do a lot of research before I even get to the rough draft. So like with my YouTube animations, I also do a lot of research for those. There's some YouTubers that I don't watch that I make animations on, so I have to put a lot of research into them. I think that references they go a long way with whoever is watching them. And whenever I'm making these animations, I gotta really know who the audience is. That's very important, because they're the people that are going to be watching your videos. They're going to be the ones that are going to be giving all that feedback that I've been seeing on Instagram and Twitter. Great feedback, by the way. Yeah, they're the people that are going to be watching it, so you got to really put in the research and really know what they know, so you can get the best references in there, really speak their language. That's very important. Yeah, I put in a lot of research.
Well, I mean, it shows the end result is amazing. So for the folks that ask me, or after they listen to this podcast, maybe they're interested, maybe they have something that they want to look to get animated. And I mean, look, you got a picture of you up here, and you're obviously a very talented artist on top of being a talented animator. So maybe there's like logo work, or lower thirds for people that do videos like me, and things like this. Are you able to, do you have somewhere where people can get in contact with you to contract this stuff out, or are you not at that point yet?
I just got at that point today. I put in a lot of work to make sure that my website was done today before the podcast, so I could have a place for all these viewers and listeners to come to after this is done. Whoever is interested. Be sure to go to doodlesandthings.net. It has all that you'll need to know about me. It has all the animations I've ever done, especially the animations I've done for Greg, which I consider some of my best work. I'm really happy with what I've done for this show. And all my YouTube work is on there. My story, how I've gotten here, my contact information, it's all there. doodlesandthings.net.
And you're like a one-stop shop. So if somebody wanted a logo, or just a portion animated, or somebody drawn out of a picture into a cartoon, all stuff that you can pretty easily do.
Yeah, I can do portraits. I can also do portraits too, and I've done a logo too. Yeah. There's a lot I can do.
The website is doodlesandthings.net. You can follow them on social media as well. In some form or fashion, it's Doodles and Things, but depending on what platform you're on, it varies a little bit. But I would assume the website has all the social media platform handles as well for people to link onto. This is Damian Rodriguez. He is the official animator of the Barbecue Central show, which we certainly appreciate. And the Mo Case on video, Damian, has hit huge with a lot of people that are friends with Mo, and a lot of people that are familiar with that particular segment with the ice chomps. That one is a infamous sound drop, to say the least, and to have you bring it to life in the way that you did was spectacular, along with all the other videos. The pineapple one, the Traeger one is incredible. I'm so grateful that I was able to get in touch with you online, virtually, because 20 years ago or 30 years ago, this never would have happened, and it probably would be $1 billion. But I'm very happy that I'm able to work with you here. And hopefully tonight, after people listen to this, they'll go to doodlesandthings.net and look to contract your services as well. Appreciate the story. Thanks for coming on tonight. I know it's a little bit late, but really appreciate everything you do.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. There's no better place to have my first interview with Greg Rempe from the Barbecue Central Show, the #2, darn you, Malcom Reed, most downloaded barbecue podcast on anywhere you can find it. Thank you so much, Greg. I'll be doing a lot more interviews to come, not only on here maybe, but many other places. This is just my first interview. I'll only get better from here. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. There he is. Damian Rodriguez right there from Doodles and Things, the founder, the creator, the mastermind, the legend, the growing legend of Damian Rodriguez. Doodlesandthings.net. There was already some people in the instant chat saying that they wanted to get some animations done, or they wanted to get a logo or animate my face or whatever. So make sure you get in contact with Damian and he'll get you quoted out and hooked up. And the proof's in the pudding. I mean, what more do you need? You've seen all my videos. You've seen what he's done. I mean, he animated himself for the video here. I mean, look at this. This is great. Kid knows what he's doing. What can I tell you? Don't sleep before he blows it up. Could be Pixar or whatever animated video things there are that I don't know. I know Pixar, Disney, right? Marvel. All things that he could be doing. Guy's a talent. You saw him here first. First interview ever right here. 17 years old. Got done with school a year and a half early. Like me. No, not like me. Appreciate Damon for coming on and talking about it. Let me talk to you quickly about Vortic watches before we wrap it up here tonight. Back in the day, watches were made to be born in the pocket. But after World War II, the wristwatch came into vogue, and the pocket watch quickly became an afterthought, finding their way into sock drawers and scrap heaps. Quite simply, a tragedy. Enter Vortic Watch Company, helping bridge the gap between America's storied watch manufacturing past and bringing it to the present day, where wristwatches are finding incredible popularity once again. Here's the coolest part. Each watch that Vortic makes is unique, one of a kind. Vortic, founded on the motto that America wasn't assembled, it was built. Check out VorticWatches.com for more information. That's VorticWatches.com. And the military watches are coming out here shortly, maybe in a month or so. So if you missed out on them last year, sign up for the notification email and you will be put on red alert. We're back to wrap the show right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Greg Rempe.
And we thank Damian Rodriguez for joining me last segment, talking about his background. Again, 17 years old. Graduated high school a year and a half early. He's laying out here for now before he starts college. Maybe that's going to happen next year. I mean, who knows? A talent. A talent. I love that kid. We're going to be doing a lot more stuff on the show with Damian. Maybe I'll re-logo the show. Why not? Who knows? All of a sudden, my mind is abuzz. All right, let's go ahead and make tracks out of here all the way back in the first hour. It was Malcom Reed from How to BBQ Right. After Malcom, I talked extensively about the Memphis in May shenanigans, tomfoolery, and otherwise informational dissertation on what 2023 might look like, the renovations of Tom Lee Park, the associated deposit that they're asking for. There's some refundable deposit, but then maybe there's non-refundable deposit, but that might only be for one side. We got the statement from the Parks side, waiting for the statement on Memphis in May. Hopefully I'll have that for you next Tuesday. Second hour, Sam the Cooking Guy for an extended What Does Sam Like Best? And then we close it out with an all-star This is two 17-year-olds that knocked it out of the park in back-to-back settings, a couple years apart, but giving me renewed hope for the youth of America. Damian Rodriguez, Doodles and Things, doodlesandthings.net, doodlesandthings.net, link in the show notes. If you're missing it live or just catching it here on audio or video and you want to link over and see what he's all about, that's doodlesandthings.net. Big show planned for you next week. Meathead is in. Robert F. Moss is in, amongst others. So stay tuned for another better than ever live show next Tuesday. So how do I always leave you? September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe, saying bye-bye.
This is Dion Blumenrader with Big Hoss One Sauce, and you're listening to the best show on all things barbecue with my man, Greg Rempe.